I'm Al Williams. Just a quick video, really rough, to show you what I've been doing lately with the ELF membership card. I built one quite a while back, and I had an ELF 2K from Spare Time Gizmos. That was replacing my old original Super ELF from back in the 70s. I lost that during a hurricane. And then when I moved, somehow the ELF 2K just didn't show up on the other side of the move. I never did figure that out. So I got Lee Hart's excellent little ELF membership card and put it together. I wanted to use the same ROM from the Spare Time Gizmos device. So I had to make a few modifications. That's been documented for a long time on the COSMAC ELF group. But it's pretty simple to do, and it basically just inverts the serial line so that you can use the same code without having to go change the code. And the ROM has a lot of nice features in it. This is cool retro term. Oh, I must have had a weird character there at the front. This is cool retro term, and so it kind of looks period. This is actually Minicom running inside of that. So cool retro terms just like a shell prompt under Linux, and I'm running Minicom with a particular configuration file. One of the cool things I like to do in the configuration file is go in here and under that's Control A O if you have the default settings, or in my case it's Alt O. And if you go to Screen and Keyboard, you'll see that there's a command key that's the A option, and you can change that to say to use the meta key. So now instead of having to hit Control A and then some command, I can hit Alt and that same command, and that leaves Control A free for things. And you can see I have the setup saved as ELF 1802, and there's a way to start up Minicom with that. I have that all written up in a shell script, and I can share that shell script with you also. So that's really not the point, though. What's interesting is if you're trying to load up, say, a hex file, and you try to just send it with the normal, paste it in or use the ASCII file transfer, you'll find that you can't go slow enough to get the ELF to keep up. And of course, there's no handshaking. Now, yeah, you can sit there and tell Minicom, oh, put 10 milliseconds between each character and 100 milliseconds after each line, but that's not really all that great. So I wrote a long time ago a program called ELF2K Xfer, and that's on GitHub. There's also some older versions on the COSMAC ELF group, and it also got picked up by AM4th, which has the same problem. And what it did originally is it waits for this triple arrow prompt. Well, actually, it does that after it sends data. First, it's going to send data, and it waits for the echo for each character. So you send an A, you don't do anything else till you get the A back. You send a B, you don't do anything, you get the B back. And when you put out a new line, it waits for this triple prompt before it starts going again. So where that comes in handy is if you want to send like a hex file. So I'm going to tell Minicom to send, and I'll show you how to set this up. You've got the ELF2K entry there. And let's see, I need, this is the Curses file picker interface is probably the worst thing to this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this. I'll just hit go to, not go to, OK. You see down at the bottom, it says go to, previous show, tag, untag. You can pick those with the right and left arrow keys. I just hit enter to do OK, and it said, well, you didn't select a file, and you can select a file. What file do you want since you didn't have one selected? And I'm going to give it an entire path here. We'll see if I can do it from memory. Demo hex. This is a Intel hex file, probably generated with an assembler. I can't really remember, but you can see it's going pretty fast, and there's no particular delay there, so it's going as fast as the system can take it. Now sure, like I say, you can guess how long you need to wait between characters and how long you need to wait at the end of a line, but that's not going to be nearly as efficient. So there we've loaded a hex file, and what I've figured out, there was a bug in the built-in basic, and I was a little agitated because since that didn't work, you couldn't really recover your basic programs. And so what I did is I changed, let's just do something here for, I don't know if it'll take lowercase or not. We're going to find out. I changed the program to take some options. So by default, it works just like it always did with no options. Oh, yeah, I think it likes uppercase only. The joys of using a computer from, 1977 or whenever this was. Print elf and then 30 next I. Oh, well, I forgot the equal sign. Sorry, hard to talk and do this all at one time. So maybe it doesn't mind the lowercase. Let's figure that out while we're doing this. For I equal 1 to 100. Here I am blaming the old computer, and it's actually the old programmer. Sorry. So, basic, simple, basic program. What you can do if you don't remember what the command is ask for help, which by default would be Control A, or in my case, it'll be, Control A, Z. In my case, it'll be Alt Z. And you can tell it you want to capture something going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to escape out of that, and I'm going to say list. But before I hit enter, well, sorry, hit the wrong key there again. I'm not doing very well here. I'm going to hit the capture again. So you really don't have to bring this menu up. If you can remember that L is capture, then you can just hit Alt L or Control A L. And it says, where do you want to put this? I'm going to put it into temp test bass, let's say. And now I'm going to hit Alt L again and tell it to close the capture file. So now my program's gone, and I should be able to tell it to send, which I happen to know is Alt S, and I've got elf bass here. And so once again, I'm just going to do this from memory, and there you go. Sorry, must have had a strange character there. So if I do a run, there we go. So I was able to pull the basic program back in. Now the question is, sorry for the mail chime there, I told you this would be a quick and dirty video. The question is how did I set that up? And of course, obviously, you've got to get the latest version of elf2k xfer and put it on your path. That's on GitHub. But when you bring up the options, which is in my case Alt O or Control A O, and you can ask for help, you use the Control A Z if you don't remember that, you see there's a file transfer protocols, and there's a couple of things that are already defined: Z modem, Y modem, X modem, all the stuff that you think is going to be there. That first line with elf2k in it that has J in front of it, that's the old line that I've had in there for a long time. And what that says is, hey, if you're going to upload using that item, use this program, and you need those parameters to the right to be all set up. So yes to the name, U for upload, no for full screen, yes for IO redirection, no for multiple files. But on the elf bass entry, and those names could be anything you want. Those are just, it could be Fred and Ethel for all it cares. I've got the same program in there, but I've got options. These don't pass through the shell, so you don't need any weird escaping. So -C greater than tells it to look for a single greater than prompt. That's actually the default. The difference is the default is N of 2, which means then get 2 more characters after that. That's the triple arrow prompt at the BIOS, or not the BIOS, the ROM monitor. But in this case, I've got N of 0 because one of those symbols is all that BASIC gives us. And then I've got an end of line delay of 10,000 microseconds. There's just a little extra delay, makes it work a little better. You may or may not need that. And the default is something, so I may have just put that in there anyway. There's other things you can put in there as well, and in fact, I'm surprised, I guess I didn't save it. You really need a -E with a colon, a space and a colon. And what that tells us that if BASIC gives you a colon, that means there was an error in the line. And of course, we didn't see that because we didn't have any errors in the line, but you generally will see that. And so that tells it to abort instead of just trying to send it continuously. So once you have all that set up the way you want, and you need all those same flags about the name and the multiple files, same as before, you can actually save that setup as ELF 1802 or whatever you want. And again, there's a way to tell Minicom to load those configurations. So that's how those items show up on the menu and what they do. So all in all, pretty cool experience having a nice terminal where you can essentially send data. Think of it like a paper tape reader, and the capture of the screen is more or less like a paper tape punch, and it's actually pretty usable. So hope you enjoyed that. If you look on the COSMAC ELF group, there's documentation about all of this, and I'll try to post up the shell script I used to start this up there if I can remember to do that, and that might help you as well. Anyway, thanks for watching.